Hi, I'm Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today is my February monthly musings, which I cannot believe we're done with February. This month went so quick for me. So I am going to share with you the decks that I used, the things that I did, stuff I read, and all that good, happy stuff for my wrap up this month. So what to talk about first? My husband and I, 31 years ago on February 10th, we had our first date. I can remember where we went. We went to the local theater and saw an awful movie and then went across the street to the local bar that is no longer there anymore and talked for hours. But yes, 31 years that we have been with each other. And he bought me a red rose bush to mark that date. And then for Valentine's Day, I got a pink rose bush to celebrate that. And those will get planted outside as soon as we get into late spring. So hopefully I can keep them alive till then. He started doing the rose bush thing for me a few years ago, and he gets me the miniature roses because those are the ones I really like. And they'll last me a few years and then they tend to die off. So we're going to try to put them somewhere different this year and see if I can get them to get bigger and last longer. So if anybody has any tips for miniature roses, let me know. But he started doing that anyway. I got off track because he wanted me to have something that was lasting, that I would be able to look at and remember when he got it for me, why he got it for me, rather than, you know, spending $60-some on a bouquet of roses that I have for 7 days and then, you know, you discard them or whatever. So that was that. And I shared a picture of us. I don't really do that on here, but I did share a picture of me and him together on my Instagram profile. So, and speaking of Instagram profiles, because mine is set to private because I'm not dealing with anybody's scammers, copiers, whatever the hell they are. I'm not dealing with any of that. So if you have requested to follow me and I haven't accepted it or something, don't be afraid to send me a message and tell me who you are, and then I'll go back and... Sorry, that was my son sending me a message. I had to stop and see what because he rarely does when he's away at school. So I needed to check to see what that was. But anyway, what I was saying is, if I haven't accepted your request to follow me, don't be afraid to send me a message to say, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so. I follow you on YouTube and I'll add you. Because sometimes if I can't tell if it's a scam account or not, I hold off on accepting those new follows. So, you know, I'm just putting that out there. Something else I did in the month of February was I had this cupboard in my kitchen that, I mean, every time you opened it, this is where we keep like all our vitamins and stuff. It would just fall out on you. I can't tell you how many vitamin bottles hit the floor when you opened up this cupboard. So I decided to clean it out. And while that's not interesting, it's what I found in the back of the cupboard, which I also shared on Instagram. Back in the back of the cupboard, after I had emptied it all out, was this little jar, and I will try to insert a picture here, and 2 honey jars next to it, and here it was a sugar intention working that I had done years and years ago, which I'm surprised it didn't get bugs in it, but yeah, I did it years ago with the person that I was having some difficulty with. You know, write their names and your intention and everything towards that person and what you want from that person, fold it all up, stick it in a jar, cover it with sugar. So, you know, bring a little sweetness to the situation. And yeah, found it in the back of the car. It was so solidified, I could not even unwrap the the intention to see what it was. So I discarded all of that and took care of it. And I finally redid my abundance bowl, which I will also insert. I think I did a video of that. I finally redid my abundance bowl. If you don't know what my abundance bowl is, look at my playlist under tarot magic or something magic, something along those lines. I have a whole video of how I do my abundance bowl. What I usually do is I do those at the beginning of the year. But I had so much going on with clients and everything at the beginning of the year, and I just felt that it wasn't time. It wasn't time to take it apart. It wasn't time to redo it, because I do redo it, refresh it, or whatever sometimes throughout the year, but definitely completely overhaul it as the new year comes in. And I did. I worked on doing that, because I sit with the bowl, feel the energy of the bowl, and see what needs done to it. And I just felt that it was time. It was time to discard that old from last year and add in, or redo the whole entire thing, add in new money and everything. And in case you're wondering, my husband and I both feed the bowl throughout the year. Change that we find laying when we're in the parking lot, on the floor of a store or whatever, when you're shopping, goes into that bowl. Sometimes if I'm cleaning or changing wallets, extra money or whatever, I will fold up and toss into that bowl. He does the same thing, and then I swish that bowl around throughout the year also to keep stirring that energy up. I know people do like abundance shakers and that kind of thing. I add intentions into that bowl. It's a whole thing, whole process, and I did that this month. So let's talk about decks and books and some other things that I got up to. One of the things that I got up to was using my cards to predict the Super Bowl. And it was fun. It was fun. Fun, people. That's just what I'm going to say. It was fun. I assigned the 49ers the Pentacle suit, and I assigned the Chiefs to the Wand suit. I actually filmed the whole entire thing of me doing this Super Bowl prediction, and I stressed in that video multiple times that it was just for fun, goofing around, playing and whatnot, and I didn't upload it. Yeah, so I kept it all to my lonesome. Well, that's not true. I didn't keep it all to my lonesome. I shared it with my family, which that was fun, and told them what I saw with I did predictions for the quarterbacks. I did predictions of how many people were going to be injured in the game, who was going to win each quarter. I did predict that the game was going into overtime, and that Kansas City was going to be struggling through the whole entire game. It just was like laid out in all the cards. It was super fun. My mom would text me because I had told her, and look, we are big football people here, my family. I mean, when you grow up and your father, all that's on TV on Saturdays is college ball, which go Alabama, and all that's on TV on Sundays is the NFL. I mean, look, it's a football family. So, yeah, it was a fun thing to do. And I made Italian hoagies. We had Italian hoagies and pizza rolls and brownies, and no chicken wings or anything this year, which we usually do. We just kept it more on the simple side. So did you watch the Super Bowl? For my US fans for my US followers here, oh my God. Anyway, did you watch it? And did your team win? I thought the commercials were better this year and everything. So anyway, on to something else. Something else, or another deck that I played with, was my Radiant Rider-Waite. This is an oldie but a goodie. Let's see if I can open it. What I did with this was on Instagram, I follow Not So Mystical Tarot, I believe is her channel name. And she did this, it's called the Elemental Tarot. So you start with, I can't remember what the order was for the week, but okay, let's just say it's the swords. So you would separate out every single sword here in the deck, and I'm just going to do that many for right now. And then once you have all the swords separated out, you shuffle those up, and then you pull one that is your strength in that element for the air element, and then you pulled one that is a challenge for you in regards to that air element. And then you take the rest of the deck, and she said that you use it for advice of, you know, what to do with that strength aspect to that element, and what to do with that challenge aspect to that element. And you don't put the swords back in, you would just shuffle up the rest of the deck that you had. And I think I did mine where like I pulled, I don't know, 3 cards, we'll say, for each of those. And it was really interesting what came out, and I enjoyed doing that. And I did it for each one. I did the pentacles, the cups, the wands, everything. And really enjoyed that, and it was something different, really something different to do. Another deck that I played around with in the month of February that sits out permanently on my coffee table now because I love this deck so much. I cannot even express the amount of love I have for this Influence of the Angels Tarot by Jody Buginski Barbesi. Did I pronounce that right? Maybe. Fingers crossed. Oh my gosh. I just love it. And I was just pulling really one card an evening with this deck. Sometimes I'd post it on Instagram. Sometimes I wouldn't. It just depended. Oh my God, I love so much about this deck. The images, oh, whoop, I had it right the first time. The images, it just has that, I don't know, comforting vibe for me. You know, I really jive with angels, so I just love it so, so much. And this is the reprint. This is the linen edition of it, and it is everything. But it was my wrap-up message. I guess I've gushed over this. Did I even say what I was using it for? It was my wrap-up message for the evening. It was, I would sit there and, you know, what do I need to take away from today? Or what is it that I need to reflect on for this day? Every time I asked something different, and I didn't journal any of it. I didn't want to. I just sat with it, thought about, you know, what the meaning could have been, and it was just for that day. So it was nothing that I needed to carry forward, to remember, or anything like that. And it was just such a lovely practice. And yeah, that's why I said right now this deck has an absolute permanent home on my coffee table right next to where I sit in the evenings. Another deck that I was using, this was more towards the end of the month. Now, I use this with my Aphrodite work also, but this came about when April over at Tarot and Witchery, she had done a video actually on, it was just a couple weeks ago. She did a video on power cards and another way to use your oracle, which I find it interesting that a lot of videos in February were ways to use your oracle. I mean, I had videos on how to use your oracle. But anyway, this is the Magical Spirit Oracle. what I started doing was, I think this was my last one that I pulled, was just pulling a power card for the week from this deck. And that's all I would say is, what is my power? Where's my power this week? Or where's my power invested in this week? And the 1 week, it was still, calm, steady, and eternal. And I strived to keep that calm vibe going in my week when I got that. But this deck is I think perfect for that power card energy. And she, I think, showed several different oracles that you could use, or different ways you could get your power card or use a power card. And I just had fun doing that. I did write these down though, because it was kind of for a week at a time. And so I wanted to have that energy wrote down in my journal. But I did really enjoy that also. So for clients, I paired these 3 decks together that you maybe wouldn't consider pairing together. And it is the Creative Conscious Healing cards, Unlocking the Secret Garden Oracle by Angie Sullins, and the Tarot della Nuit, which is the first time I'm using this deck. If you watched my What's in My Tarot Cabinet, you would have seen what I said about this deck. And I decided to pull it out and use it. And the thing that's interesting about these 3 cards, or these 3 decks being paired together, is I was looking at, or what we were focusing on with some of my clients, is about our relationships in the month of February, and even our relationship with ourselves. And some maybe a healing energy. We'd start out the week with a healing energy and what that would mean to us. And then midweek, we would look at an energy that is bubbling up inside of us, part of our inner sanctuary that we need to acknowledge, and how that is going to affect that healing energy from the beginning of the week. And then on the end of the week, on Fridays, I would pull tarot, and it was to show us how these energies could help us, what they could bring to us, what basically the wrap-up message for these energies that the earlier in the week brought us. And these cards worked beautifully together. And I'm going to be honest and say that I was very, very shocked and surprised at how well I liked the Tarot della Nuit. I had such an aversion to it, even though I bought it. And I got beautiful messages from it for the wrap-up messages for Friday for them. And it was really nice. And the colors go beautifully with one another between these 3 decks. So they seem to like it too. There was some, this right here, this Creative Consciousness, I thought it had some, at least what came out was some really heavier messages. One of the weeks was all about looking back to our younger self, and some of those pains and that maybe we've carried forward that are affecting us in our present moment, in our relationships with ourselves, and so on. And what was beautiful about that was the midweek energy for that came from the card Forgiveness, and looking at that aspect of forgiveness and forgiving that yourself for whatever choices you made or for whatever happened, and so on. And while I don't remember the cards exactly, the basic wrap-up message for that week was about learning how to step outside of yourself and view things from a neutral standpoint, basically, and not letting the emotions steer the direction of working through that past trauma. Whoops, so we're upside down a little bit. But yes, these, I don't know what is happening here, but these worked wonderfully with each other. And I was pleasantly surprised by the Tarot de la Nuit, so I will be using it more often now. So let's talk about some things that I bought or that came in the month of February. And this only came in very recently, so I've only done one exercise in it, and it is the Tarot Activity Book by Andy Matzner. Matzner, I think is how you pronounce it. I can't remember who I saw playing around with this, and I thought, oh, this is something different to do with the cards. But each of there's different sections. So there's conversation starters, there are writing, journaling, arts and crafts, and then that's it. So, but there's a whole bunch of exercises in each one, and I've only done one so far, and that's the relationships. And this one was tough. It was tough. And you basically pick a tarot card that represents the relationship you have with each of these things in this that's listed here. So is it, so with time, is it a weak relationship, a troubled, a conflicted, a close, secure, brittle, broken, and so on and so on. And you would pick the corresponding card that you felt fit best for each one of these things. And apparently I have more troubled relationships with some of these things on here than I realized. And then he says, or they say, that you can do whatever you want to once you get the results. They don't tell you what to do after you get those cards, so you can then choose what to do yourself after that. So it really made me look at some of those things that I picked more difficult cards for, and I thought about, well, okay, why did I pick that? What is affecting me so much? What can I do to remedy it, basically? So I did get this so I can start playing around with my cards and using them in a different way. And again, let me reiterate the word, have fun with the cards, play around with the cards. I already showed, but in case you didn't watch that video, I'm just going to show that very, very briefly. I got the Unfinished Business, A Ghostly Tarot in. This is the first edition. There's difficult images in here. I've already said that when I did my pairings video with that. But just in case you did not watch that pairings video, I will show this quickly here. You can see this is in order. And if you watched that pairings video, you would have seen me talk about this book. It fell apart. It literally fell apart right after I did that video. And I did the tab binding on it. And if you don't know what the tab binding is, you can look up videos here on YouTube. Journalers, anybody who puts journals together knows what a no-sew tab binding is. Is it perfect? No, but I really don't care. It's just, it lays flat for me now, which is nice. But yeah, I cut the whole spine off because it just, one page after another just started coming out. So I did get this in. I don't count this as a deck purchase because this was purchased, God, I can't remember the month in 2023 that I purchased this deck. So there was that. If you saw my pairings video with this, I got the Witch Sister in also, and I bought it secondhand, and it doesn't matter. I love it, which I noticed on that video I didn't show really well, but I did edge it. This is what my edging looks like, and I used that, and I couldn't remember the two markers. I know Flamingo Pink was the one, and I couldn't remember if it was that honey one or that other one. And I think I said the darker one at first, but after I uploaded that, I do think it was the lighter one that I went over this with, that I showed on that video. But they're Bic Markets. That's the name of the markers. And I love them because look, I could rub and absolutely nothing comes off on my finger. Even if my palms are sweating or whatever, I've never had any transfer using the Bic Markets, because Tombows are water-based markers. That's why you can use a blender pen with them. And yeah, those end up rubbing off on my fingers. So I did purchase that. And two other purchases that I made, which I am so happy about, is, where's my book? I got in the Mystic Palette Tarot by Ciro Marchetti, however you say that. Oh my gosh, do I love this deck so much. I haven't even read with it yet, and I'm already in love with the images of it. I must be into that, like, close-up feeling of images right now, considering I got the Witch Sisters in and now this one. But yeah, this is just beautiful, and I am so glad that I went with the colored version rather than the muted toned version, because I don't think it would have had the same impact for me. And this deck is just stunning. So I can't wait to actually do some readings with it and see what kind of a reader it is for me. So I was thrilled to finally get this deck in. And the last deck that I got in is the Solitary Witch Oracle. So I really only brought, I guess, 3 decks in. I don't think I purchased anything in January. So I don't think that's too bad, since I'm supposed to be on this low buy year. Did I buy anything in January? I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, so I got the Solitary Witch Oracle in by Lucy Cavendish. I have not even done anything with this yet. I just think these images are they're so beautiful. And I've seen this on other people's channels, but it was watching Candy Soul and Soil talk about this deck and use this deck that really made me want this deck. And I just think it is stunning. The what is this, like watercolor type images here. So I can't really say anything about it because I didn't do anything but look through the cards to make sure I had them all. I have not used it yet. And I'm thinking about doing a video to show all my witchy decks, because that was not shown in the tarot cabinet videos, because they all sit on my bookshelf. So maybe I'll do that in March. I'll take time to go through all my witchy decks and what my favorites in that are. But this deck is just beautiful. If you do have the Solitary Witch Oracle, let me know how you're using it, because I love hearing how other people actually use their decks in practice. I appreciate the walkthroughs and, you know, talking about the artists and all of that. I really do. I don't want anybody to take what I'm going to say in the wrong way. I appreciate all that knowledge. But I really, really, really love to hear how you are incorporating it into your practice, what it brings to your practice, maybe a special way that you're using it in your practice. I don't know if I said that in another video or not, but part of me feels like I'm being a broken record in regards to all of that. What else did I get up to in February? I am still doing that Omen Days where you'd have to go all the way back to my January or coming up in 2024, one of those videos where I talk about my Omen Day predictions. My omens for February, you look out into nature. It would have been on December 27th, I believe. Yeah. And then I take that knowledge and I incorporate it into some sort of prediction for my month of February. And at first I thought, nah, nothing's going to fit this month. And then by the end of the month, it all came together. Like a well done recipe, I guess, well baked bread. So it was really rainy that day. There was a lot of water, aspects to water. So February did end up being a very emotional month for me. So I found that really interesting. I found broken wings, broken angel wings actually off of one of my angel figurines, and I had to repair it. And so I notated that and I put down something like, a broken promise that for that month. And that actually happened. So that one I thought was, oh, that's going to be way out there. But no, it actually happened. My card for the month was journey, so some sort of travel. I was a very busy bee this month and went out to a Galentine's lunch with one of my girlfriends, had to take my mom to some doctor's appointments. And so I was, out and about quite a bit more than usual. So I really do enjoy how these omens are showing up for me in the month. And it's been very, very interesting. And I know I've probably rambled on for what feels like a year and a day now, but I'm not quite done. So, another thing I got up to in the month of February was starting to read A Walk Through the Forest of Souls, A Tarot Journey to Awakening by Rachel Pollack. Now, how I came about doing this was I came across Tara's channel, which is Cozy Core Crafts, and I was just happened to be scrolling through TarotTube. It was, I think, a Sunday, and I saw where she had this thing called Tarot Sprints on. It was a live that she did. I didn't have any clue what Tarot Sprints was. And so I listened, and it was basically they were studying, I don't know, let's see if I could put this right. They were studying some aspect of tarot, whether a deck or something they were wanting to learn. I think someone was like going to do something with numerology. Someone else was looking at elements, I think, because she had several people on this live, and then she would set a timer for 30 minutes. And I thought, what am I going to do during this thing? Because I was going to click off, and I thought, no, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start this book, because it's been sitting on my coffee table for months and I have yet to pick it up to read it. And I got to chapter 4 by doing those sprints, and highlighted a few things in here also. And I really, really enjoyed doing that. I had no clue, like I said, what it even was, but it made me pick up this book and read it. And for that, I am very, very appreciative. So I do want to shout out 2 channels, and one is Tara at Cozy Core Craft, and she's a smaller channel. So if you have not checked out her channel, please go do that, because I think she has some great stuff on there. And the other channel I want to shout out is Shanna D. Her channel is another small tarot tube channel here, and I have really been enjoying her content also. And I think I have talked you to death now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this musings up. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you stuck with me through this whole entire thing, leave a rose emoji in the comments below to represent the rose bushes that my husband bought me this month for Valentine's Day and whatnot. So again, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you being here. Give this a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until I see you next time, bye.